Hello! This is the one episode rule. I'm Magpie, resurfacing briefly
Resurfacing.
from the Elden Ring, gasping
yes.
for breath. How are you guys?
I'm good. I'm Blackle. I spent most of last night playing Deus Ex for the first time in my life.
Which Deus Ex?
The original.
Oh, the stanky one.
Yeah, the stinky one. I was actually playing a mod that makes your character female, which is kind of cool.
That's cool.
Very
Female?
well made mod too. Like
Female JC Denton.
Yeah, the mod's called Lady Denton. And the very good voice acting. My thoughts about Deus Ex the game are still percolating.
That's fine.
It feels like Chaos Theory, but worse.
Correct. It's a complicated beast.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I haven't played through that game in like 20 years, so I barely remember specifics about it.
You played it as a child.
Because I played it when I was a child.
Nice.
When you were a baby.
What have you been up to, JoJo?
Yeah, hi, I'm Joey, and this week I watched a little more of Jujutsu Kaisen. That show seems good.
That show's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm up to I think episode 4 or so. I can definitely smell the Naruto Bleach vibes on it, but their storytelling feels more competent so far. Yeah. I'm not sure.
All right. Who's your favorite out of the three of them?
Oh god, I love Yuji too much.
Oh yeah, you love
the dumb boy,
pink-haired sports idiot.
Yes, pink-haired sports idiot. He's an idiot, and therefore I love him.
I didn't know I would be so fond of Nobara.
Yeah, she's good.
She's just this is all bullshit.
And then we have Sasuke 2.0.
Yeah, there's Sasuke, who's a little less irritating than
a little less Sasuke. A little Sasuke, but a little less.
Turn it back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That show is good.
Yeah, I would like to watch more sometime. So we'll see.
I was thinking earlier, I still gotta get you through Evangelion. We have to do it. It's necessary.
We should make a side podcast.
We keep trying.
That's just watching the whole series. I think there are probably 80 fucking Evangelion watch party podcasts.
We just need a day where you just sit me down, you strap me in, you tape my eyeballs open.
Well, I gotta strap you into the fucking Clockwork Orange machine.
Yeah.
You will.
Well, because we haven't gotten anywhere so far.
Drastic measures will have to be undertaken.
I think we keep getting to episode 10 and then forgetting what we were doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. And then I'm like, well, I don't remember anything from this show. And it's all right, we'll start over.
I think it's literally around the Magma Diver episode, which explains a lot.
You just skip the Magma Diver episode.
You could just look at Magma Diver.
It's fine.
Anyhow. You got some news for us?
I've got a little news. Speaking of Jujutsu Kaisen, after reaching the 8th best-selling film in the Japanese box office ever, displacing The Wind Rises, which is a tragedy, but
oh my.
Jujutsu Kaisen 0 has finally been unseated by Doraemon.
Whoa!
It's always embarrassing when you've been unseated by a blue earless cat. So
well,
what?
Doraemon?
Doraemon, yeah.
Doraemon. Yeah, no. I personally don't think it's that embarrassing because that thing has been around for forever, essentially. I think.
Why doesn't he have ears, though?
I don't know. He doesn't need them.
He's evolved beyond the need for ears.
Can't hear the haters.
He doesn't want to hear you. Anyway, so that means that it's broken the Mugen Train curse, and we won't have to hear about Jujutsu Kaisen 0 for another year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And other news, specifically for Joey.
Yes.
I'm just going to string some words together that I am going to assume that you'll approve of, which is One Piece trading card game announced by Bandai for English language and worldwide release.
Gimme. Give. Oh God, I'm not gonna think about anything for the next month and a half or however long until I. Oh my God, you've made my life. I'm losing my mind. Holy shit. This is not what I thought you were gonna talk about, but it's even better.
What do you think I was going to talk about?
I thought you were gonna talk about Dr. Stone ending.
Dr. Stone is ending.
Which, good. You know what? Good for them. They had a 5-year run.
They're finally going to put the adventures of Rick Stone to bed.
Richard Stone.
Yeah. He can finally go to sleep.
He can finally die.
You know what?
He finally
good
gets
for
his
him.
medical license.
He finally.
Right.
Anyhow.
So that's the news, and I've just realized that I didn't even discuss with you guys what we were going to watch. So I'm just going to pull one out of my hat right now, and I think that we're going to watch the first episode of Gate.
Whoa! All right.
Because I've seen clips from it for a long time, and I want to hear what you guys think of Gate.
I have a vague.
Oh my.
So yeah, let's get to it. Now I know we have feelings about isekai as a genre, but what about isekai as a vehicle for military fetishism?
What about isekai as a vehicle for colonialism?
For like Japanese JSDF propaganda.
What about
it did feel like a JSDF
as a fucking power fantasy?
Yeah.
Well, it was already a power fantasy.
I mean, obviously,
as a national power fantasy.
Yes.
This is, in some ways, this is a more grounded power fantasy.
This is more of like what would happen in an isekai, like that. Like, okay.
Anyway, who would like to have this blurb?
Blackle shall have it.
Okay, I'll read it.
All right.
I'll do it really good. Off-duty Japan Self-Defense Forces JSDF officer and otaku Yuji Itami is on his way to attend a Dojin convention in Ginza, Tokyo, when a mysterious portal in the shape of a large gate suddenly appears. From this gate, supernatural creatures and warriors clad in medieval armor emerge, charging through the city, killing and destroying everything in their path. With swift actions, Yuji saves as many lives as he can. Yoji saves as many lives as he can, while the rest of the JSDF direct their efforts towards stopping the invasion. 3 months after the attack, Yoji has been tasked with leading a special recon team as part of a JSDF task force. That will be sent into the world beyond the gate, now being referred to as the Special Region. They must travel into the unknown world in order to learn more about what they are dealing with and attempt to befriend the locals in hopes of creating peaceful ties with the ruling empire. But if they fail, they face the consequence of participating in a devastating war that will engulf both sides of the gate.
So, I guess we'll just get into the rundown here.
Mm-hmm.
So, Second Lieutenant Itami here is a grown-ass man who likes Precure.
Yeah.
He loves that shit. He's going to a Dojin convention.
It's like his one personality trait.
His personality trait is that he is an otaku. And a pretty level-headed one, actually, but... But during his trip, the gate opens up in the middle of Ginza, and that shit just starts pouring out and attacking the locals and shit. And I'll already say this: the show, not super well animated a lot of the time. It spends its artistic budget on its fanatical devotion to military accuracy.
Yes,
but,
yes.
But I do like how some of this is directed. It really actually shows the consequence of this kind of thing when most isekais would ignore it. Like,
right, like
civilians are getting fucked up here.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like, okay, they actually did acknowledge that, like, a dragon coming through the gate will carry people off and eat them and drop them on the floor. And if orcs come through your gate, they are going to chop people up, and that's sure as hell what they did.
There's a personal cost to this kind of thing, Kirito.
Yeah.
Actually, in Sword Art, that never. Well, there's room for that to happen in Sword Art, but nobody ever wants to consider the lives of the regular fucking people stuck in there.
Right. I feel like most shows like this, they would just be like, and somehow everyone was okay,
But anyway, so yeah, it's go time, and Mr. Tommy does what he can to help. Honestly. He does brutally kill a centurion in the street who is charging a police officer.
That was literally my favorite moment.
And the funny thing is nobody like claps or anything like you would expect in an anime. They're just like, holy shit, he just killed that guy.
Yeah.
That's why it would.
The fucking policeman has no idea what to do.
Yeah.
You watch him put this guy in a headlock, and you're like, oh, he's gonna disarm, and no, he just gets that knife, and you're just like, wait a minute, is he? He just stabs that guy.
There is no clemency on this battlefield. But
he turns around, a glint in his eye, and blood all over his face.
It's just like, are you guys okay? But and yeah, they managed to eventually shepherd everyone in the area into the gates of the Imperial Palace, which is basically all the police can do in this situation. The Tokyo police are often not armed. Some of them are, and you saw they were coming with snub-nosed revolvers. So they did admirably well in the situation, because that's pretty much like the Imperial Palace is a medieval fortification.
Yes.
So they managed to get everybody inside and take the gate, while the local branch of the JSDF showed up and killed all of them.
Yeah.
Very quickly. They brought helicopters.
Yeah, the helicopter versus the dragon was my second favorite moment.
Dragons do not win against helicopters in this story, apparently.
The dragon got full of holes.
Yeah.
That gun was probably at least 50 caliber, so yeah. So yeah, they drive them off because it's a modern military, and even Japan, which only has the JSDF, and they are the defense force specifically because of the terms of their government and the treaties they signed at the end of World War II.
Right.
They're still capable enough to deal with this kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, cut to like 3 months later. The gate is still there, and Yoji has acquired commendation for his heroism, but now it's made him so famous that everybody keeps bothering him.
God, I have so many thoughts about that.
And he gets no time off work to indulge in his well, he can't be a weeb, he's Japanese, but his otaku tendencies. And also he's about to get the unfortunate news that Japanese Parliament and the Prime Minister have decided that they have to send somebody over there.
And it ain't gonna be diplomats.
And And it's really funny because I want to know if they ever examine this. I feel like they're not going to. I feel like it's going to be all adventures in the other world, with some back in Japan. But they had. I thought it was really funny that they had to basically designate whatever was on the other side of the gate as a special, like, administrative region of Japan, because
Yeah.
they are forbidden from invading other countries. So whatever, if they send the military, whatever's on the other side of the gate has to be Japan.
I mean, to be fair.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I liked the detail that the fucking prime minister who announced that they would be doing this is not the same prime minister as 3 months later.
Yeah.
That's a funny choice.
He either retired or got ousted.
Yeah.
But they continued his legacy to do this.
But they continued the plan. And the rest of the episode is devoted to them basically organizing a column to send in as an expeditionary force. And also there's a very sad scene next to it because there is a memorial set up for all of the people who died horribly. And the little girl from the beginning is there dropping off roses for presumably her father. And it's just like, oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It seemed like he sort of almost sees himself as a father figure to that child, which,
or even was just affected by it.
Yeah. No, like, this is what we're fighting for,
there's
sort of
a
thing.
personal connection there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So they drive through a whole column. I think they have like 4 tanks and like another 8 various vehicles. I think there's a couple of Hummers and some troop transports behind them. And yeah, they get through and they're faced with a fantasy army, and they're just like, all right, get in position.
Yep.
All right, I guess we're gonna kill these guys.
I guess we have to kill these guys. It's just like, this was specifically a diplomatic mission, but they don't appear to be interested.
They are simply not.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a relatively simple opening, effective enough, I feel. So let's discuss what do we think's going on. I have some notes, which I'll say it's interesting that the artistic budget was basically spent on I forget what they call these guys, but they're basically like machine designers. And you see them working in like Gundam, technical artists a lot of the time. And you see them working like Gundam a lot, and they obviously have a strong core of technical artists just to get the tanks right.
Yeah, that's very important. It did feel like a big advertisement for the self-defense force.
It does feel a little bit propaganda-y.
Yeah. To be fair, that's how I feel about like Marvel movies.
True enough.
I mean, that is literally also propaganda. Like,
fair, but they didn't have to make it feel like it so much.
I think it's funny that it's less likely that the actual JSDF funded any part of this, while the Pentagon does actually fund the Marvel
that's
movies.
what I'm saying. I was talking about Marvel specifically.
Yeah.
I still find the characters pretty likable. The main character is an interesting dichotomy because he is a hard-assed military man, but in his time off, he's just a fucking dork.
And he's like, I will drop everything to do my hobby, to be honest.
It's just like, I will drop anything for Madoka.
Yeah.
I personally thought our protagonist was kind of bland.
I would agree.
He's a little bland. I think he's honestly just meant to be a viewpoint character.
Oh, he definitely is. He's like, this is a character in which you can see yourself. And
I do appreciate him more than other isekai protagonists because A, he has exactly one more iota of personality than most of them.
Yeah.
And B, he is a 33-year-old man, which is actually more...
That's true.
Which is actually more likely for me to be able to empathize with. Because
it's like,
I am
Jesus, we finally get one that's like our age.
He's a grown-ass person.
My next thought is my favorite monster was the pig man.
Everybody likes a pig man.
Big man was good.
He was just a little pig man, and he was spinning.
I found the fantasy creatures to actually be a little generic. Excuse me. Generic. Which I guess is okay. They're not really the focus here.
No, this is literally a military fantasy. Like
they kind of need to be here.
I can't emphasize enough how, like, to me this almost feels like, okay, all of these isekais are some sort of like you're supposed to, self-insert fantasy sort of deal. This feels way more blatant than a lot of them, because it's like
I feel like this is either the explanations for this are either just like actual like military fetishism, which does come up in anime quite a bit actually, which can be more or less nefarious depending on the author, because sometimes you have to admit tanks are cool, guys.
Then other times you get your Attack on Titans.
Or I feel like I sensed an undercurrent of this, and I don't know if you guys did. I feel like this author might also have a bone to pick with isekai.
You think? I mean, I will say that as far as isekai go, like, this one at least had a different concept than a lot of them do, which, I mean, I feel like we've at least had a few that have a kind of different concept. Yeah. But, like, this is one where, the fantasy creatures get isekai'd here first, and then we're just like, we're gonna go get them now.
I think at any point you can, like, go back to your original life, or, like, original world, makes it, like, more interesting to me.
Yeah, it reminds me of, what does it remind me of? Am I thinking of
They did that in Inuyasha.
They did that in the sequel to Spin, the novel.
That's a weird pull.
It is. It's a good book. The sequel's okay, and the third sequel is bad.
It's always more interesting whenever there is passage like back and forth rather than just one way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen a lot more clips from this than this would suggest. It basically boils down to two types of scene, which is scenes in which the JSDF is allied with fantasy people from this world, fucking destroying the Roman Empire, which I think is pretty fun.
Yeah.
In various different ways, sometimes with artillery, sometimes they just mow them down from a helicopter. Occasionally they do special forces and insertions and shit. And it becomes Deus Ex.
Right.
Yeah.
A little OP.
And the other is either comedy from misunderstandings between Japanese people and fantasy people. Like the Japanese side explaining to them what an earthquake is. This happens all the time at home.
Yeah, I think one thing that intrigues me, about isekai that I don't really see a lot are like characters from like a different world observing our world and having their own thoughts and views on it. I think that's interesting to me.
That's your reverse isekai, like Thermae Rome. But
or that one isekai of the food place. What's it called? My brain is not working today.
The food place?
I know the one where they go to the isekai fantasy.
The izakaya, yeah.
And they're just like, wow, this beer is amazing, or was it beer? I can't remember.
It was beer and like Odin.
Yeah.
Like, this is incredible.
The other type of comedic scene I have seen is just people being like amazed that the main character is competent. Because he's like a huge fucked up dork. And they introduced this female like sergeant or something later on, and they're always talking about him. and his exploits because he completed like ranger training and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they say something like that, you can see her in the background, and you can just see her start to have a fucking coronary. Because it's just like, this fucking dork
This
is a
doesn't seem
ranger.
real. What is going on?
So yeah, that's all I know about it. That seems to be all there is to it.
Yeah, my last thing is, why did he get like visions of the fantasy characters?
I don't know. I have to assume
He's
it
just
has
like
something...
a sorcerer, an elf, and then the third one was a goth.
I feel like not in universe. I feel like they added that just because they wouldn't appear in the first episode and they wanted to tease it.
Yeah,
I guess
that's a composition reason. If in universe, it probably just had something to do with the gate appearing. I'm sure it happened to other people too.
Perhaps.
Or maybe he's actually a seer this whole time.
I don't know. Maybe he's gifted with the second sight.
You know, they would do it. My other thing is, why did his one little military buddy was like, "Do you think they got cat girls in there?"
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why wouldn't there be cat girls?
Why wouldn't there? They fucking better.
I was like, you know what? This guy, that guy, he's asking the important questions.
This guy gets it.
That guy understands.
So what do we think? Would we watch more of this?
Absolutely not.
All right. I feel like it's set up perfectly to make you want to watch more of it, but I don't know if I want to.
I can feel the id of my mind wanting to watch the next one. It's just what's gonna happen next? And then I'm just like, okay, I'll satisfy that by reading this plot synopsis on Wikipedia. I'm not wasting 8 hours on this anime.
I had no urge to learn more, to be honest. I'm just like, okay. I'm sorry, military stuff isn't my cup of tea, mostly. Maybe if you have like a funny video compilation, I might consider it, but I don't know.
All I have is clips of them mowing down cavalry charges with machine guns.
I don't know. I simply don't know.
And fantasy characters being made to ride in Humvees and having panic attacks about it.
That does seem kind of funny. I think that I didn't connect with the protagonist at all, and maybe that was its downfall. I don't know. I can't explain.
Well, you don't have to. That's the beauty of things.
That's true.
I might watch another episode, but I'm also not like powerfully compelled to. I'm only from idle curiosity because everything on the fantasy side is just so generic.
Yeah. Nothing really interesting or different about it.
It's so like uninspired.
Right, like we got an elf, we got an orc. They look exactly like how you would picture those designs to look.
Now, I understand that they're straw men, basically, but come on, you can dress them up a little more.
Yeah, make something slightly different.
Yeah.
What if they invaded the world of Rank of Kings?
What if they invaded the world of No Game, No Life?
I think this should be a moment here because I feel like we've run out of things to say. So, what is the funniest world for them to invade of the anime we've watched on the show recently?
They should invade the food world that you were just talking about.
They should invade Garzy's Wing.
Uma Musume.
Holy shit!
The Japanese invasion and occupation of her horse girl world.
The horse girls win.
They're so mobile.
No, wait, hold on.
They can't be
No,
pinned
hold
down.
on. They team up and the horse girls become the cavalry. All right.
If you think you're funnier than us and have a suggestion for what the funniest world the JSDF could invade would be, you can send that to oneepisodecast@gmail.com.
That's one the word, not the number. And hey, you can also invade our tweets, following us on Twitter.
I don't like that word.
At One Episode Cast.
But we will be forced to retaliate.
Yeah.
We have built a box around our Twitter.
We have acquired uranium.
We have it ready. It's not refined or anything. It's just raw uranium. We're gonna throw it at you.
We're just gonna fire it at them.
To be honest, that'd probably still do the job.
Yeah, you're gonna
big
very long term downside.
Doesn't even kill them with radiation. It just bonks them in the head.
Yeah,
just crushes them. When y'all asked what the funniest world for them to invade it is, before you said of the shows we've watched, my mind immediately said Berserk, and then I thought that's actually not funny at all. That's the worst thing.
No, that seems like it would be bad actually.
Because that would just lead to them being also consumed by Berserk.
Uh-oh.
And everything would turn into a fucking metal album cover.
Right, because they have guns with them too.
Yeah, it's just you're just adding guns to the Berserk.
You're adding guns to Berserk, and I think that doesn't need to be necessary.
It doesn't help anyone.
You know, I'm looking at our list, and I realize that there's a certain existential horror to if they invade the world of Cells at Work, because who are they in?
Oh my god.
Christ.
No, I refuse to consider this. I'm leaving.
They're in my body.
Ah!